It's a peaceful day at school. Akane Shinjo stands at the roof of the building, looking to the sky, where she sees a star split into 6. Later, Yuta wakes up to an unfamiliar ceiling. An unknown girl, Rika, tells him that he collapsed and worried her, and offers to let him use the washroom. Looking in the mirror, Yuta comes to the realization that he can't remember anything. He hears a voice call Yuta, which he follows to arrive an old computer. The screen turns on suddenly, showing Gridman, who introduces himself and tells Yuta he has to remember his calling. Rika comes and asks what he's doing, and he realizes that she can't see Gridman. They converse, and he finds out that he's in Rika's home, the shop, and establishes that he has amnesia. Rika's mother tells her to take Yuta to the hospital. Outside, there's thick mist. Above, he sees a giant kaiju, but when he points at it, he finds out Rika can't see it. The hospital tells him that it'll probably return to normal soon, but as he starts to leave, he finds he can't remember where he lives. Rika, who doesn't know either, borrows Yuta's phone to text Sho Utsumi for his address. Since it's getting late, they stop to get donuts. Yuta finds out that, rather than being friends, this is allegedly the first time he and Rika spoke so much since they were put in the same class. He sees Samurai Calibus staring at him from across the street and is a little weirded out. They finally arrive at Yuta's house, and Rika tells him that Utsumi will come to pick him up the next day. He finds out that his parents were on an around 3-month business trip and thinks that it felt weird, like someone else's life. He meets up with Utsumi, and they walk to school together. Utsumi tells him that they only got to know each other in April, so they can just pretend they're becoming friends again. Namiko is snuggling Rika in a classroom with Hass, and tells Rika that she saw her yesterday with Yuta. Later, Rika tells Yuta about her friends and asks him to let her have her space. Yuta forgot to bring his lunch, so Akane offers him a special dog that she had extra. However, Tonkawa accidentally hits a volleyball into it, and it falls to the floor. Tonkawa apologizes, and Yuta still eats the special dog. We see someone working on carving something, and someone's eye through glinting cracked glasses. Alexis comments on it, saying that something unforgivable must have happened to need another kaiju. When walking home, Yuta remarks that Akane was kind, leading Utsumi to tell him that she's a miracle girl who the whole class likes. Yuta asks him if he likes her, and he mumbles and denies it before changing topics and asking about Gridman. They both follow Rika home. Meanwhile, Tonkawa is skipping volleyball practice. Yuta tells Rika that he thinks her family gets along great, to which she responds that it seems normal. Utsumi remarks that the computer is cobbled together like a pile of junk. Gridman tells him that there's danger closing in on this world, and they find out that Utsumi can't see it either. Alexis Scarabuse's instant ab reaction on a sculpture of Golgilas, and Yuta's arm tingles with something that looks like electricity. He gets the feeling there's trouble, hears a kaiju, and the room shakes soon after. The city is revealed to be in danger, with fires and Golgilas kicking around cars. Yuta and the others go outside to see. Just after Utsumi suggests going to the main road to see better, the Golgilas fires a bunch of fireballs. One of them bounces into the school, where Tonkawa was sitting outside. Rika remarks that it was the school's direction. Yuta, who hears Gridman's voice, runs to the junk shop and talks to Gridman, who says they have to awaken, and then says he'll explain later. The computer sucks him in, and Utsumi and Rika arrive just in time to see it. Utsumi says he's been swallowed by junk, establishing the computer's name, and Rika remarks that old computers are terrifying. Yuta and Gridman fuse, which both Utsumi and Rika see on the computer screen. Gridman appears outside, which Rika and Utsumi see, although the fog makes it difficult. Utsumi hears Yuta's voice coming from junk. Gridman charges at the kaiju and is knocked into a building. Golgilas shoots fireballs into the air, causing explosions between it and Gridman. An alarm sounds from junk, which is spitting sparks, to which Utsumi says that old computers are awesome, and they theorize that junk and Gridman are linked, meaning that Yuta is in danger. Utsumi laments that if it was the Ultra series, the kaiju would have a weakness, but then he figures out that its neck is weak, since it's crumbling. He charges at Gul Gilas again, punching through a fireball, and pulls its neck off, revealing a bunch of circuits. He kicks the rest of its body and finishes it off with Grid Beam. Yuta comes back through the computer, to Rika's relief and Utsumi's excitement. After Utsumi compliments him, Gridman tells Yuta that he has to complete his mission and that the fight with the kaiju was only the beginning. Utsumi enthusiastically says that they need a name for themselves. Alexis calls Gridman an unexpected guest. Samurai Caliba is seen looking out at the Gul Gilas' head. The next day, Yuta, Utsumi, and Rika find out that the school is still standing. Yuta asks some of his classmates about the kaiju that rampaged last night, only to find out they don't remember anything. Utsumi tells him it's like their memories have been reset with the buildings, and points out that it seems like there are less desks than before. Rika asks Namiko and Has about where Tonkawa and the others' desks are, but they don't remember them. Yuta and Utsumi decide they'll go ask Gridman about it after school, and Rika has to cancel her plans with her friends to be able to open shop. Akane hears them talking about the Gridman alliance. Akane invites Yuta to the roof for lunch, asking him about the kaiju he was talking about. Seeing that Yuta refuses to answer, Akane apologizes for prying too much. She runs into her homeroom teacher in the hallway, chiding him for not watching where he's going, but he doesn't reply, upsetting her. Akane returns home and to her room, which is full of garbage bags and kaiju figures. She greets Alexis, who's inhabiting her computer, and tells him that their guest might be named Gridman and that there are 3 kids who didn't lose their memories. Meanwhile, Yuta can't get any information out of Gridman. Utsumi says that since there are kaiju, there might be aliens next, since that's a common trope in the Ultra series. This causes Yuta to think about Samurai Caliba, whom he saw yesterday, and Samurai Caliba enters the store, Katana bumping into the door on the way in. He explains that he and the others have come because of the approaching danger and optimizes junk. Utsumi and Rika can now hear Gridman. Together with Samurai Caliba, they start investigating the 5 missing people using the addresses Utsumi got at lunch from the school telephone network. On the way, the other 2 notice that they can see the kaiju in the distance now. Visiting everyone's houses reveals that all the missing people died in middle school. Because of the heat, they stop to get soda, although Rika doesn't take any since she can't drink carbonated things. Rika talks about their classmates' disappearances, but for Yuta and Utsumi, it hasn't seemed to have sunk yet. Samurai Caliba broke open a soda bottle. Later, Samurai Caliba offers Rika 56 blend tea. Rika talks to him about her worries, and Samurai Caliba tells her that's why they need to fight. She says she wants Yuta to fight if another kaiju comes out to protect her friends, but when Samurai Caliba tells her to tell him that, she says she can't. Meanwhile, Akane finished sculpting her new kaiju, Devadaten, and tells Alexis that she'll use it to kill her homeroom teacher, since he bumped into her and didn't say sorry. Alexis uses instant abreaction. Yuta tries to run to Gridman, but Utsumi tries to stop him, saying it's too dangerous. Yuta tells him that if he doesn't fight, more people will die, and when Utsumi says he's being out of character, Yuta tells him that we're the Gridman Alliance, aren't we? After a little hesitation, Utsumi nods, and they agree to go to junk. Devadaten shoots another beam around the city, slicing through buildings, and a piece of building is about to fall on Yuta, Utsumi, and Rika, when Samurai Caliba slices through it and saves them. While Yuta and Utsumi rush off to junk, Rika hesitates, before firming her resolve after talking with Samurai Caliba. Gridman tells Yuta that the only way he can materialize in that world is by combining with Yuta, as he is merely energy without substance. Yuta gets the Primal Acceptor, which he can use to access Flash and combine with Gridman. Just as Devadaten is about to crush the teacher, Gridman jump kicks it before jumping onto a building. Gridman's moves and colors are different, and Yuta feels lighter and can hear the people at junk, showing the optimized Gridman. Gridman throws Devadaten around and uses Grid Beam on it, but Devadaten reflects the beam into Gridman. Gridman is pushed back more by Devadaten's beam, and junk starts its alarm again. Rika asks if it has any weak spots, but Utsumi can't think of anything, so she turns to Samurai Caliba who uses the access code, Gridman Caliba, to change into a giant sword. Caliba blocks Devadodon's beam, and together, they use the move Electrifying Great Sword, Gridman Caliba. Rika goes to meet up with Namiko and Hass, saying thanks before leaving. Yuta is troubled by the people who he didn't save, but Samurai Caliba assures him that if he hadn't done anything, the death count would be higher. The next day, Yuta is eating lunch on the roof with Utsumi, who says that as he thought, no one else remembers Gridman or the kaiju. Since it's hot outside, they head back in, Yuta wondering if there's a point to what he's doing, since everything will just repeat. He bumps into his teacher, who apologizes. Akane was watching. The episode starts off with Akane Shinjo and Antai standing in the rain. Akane wishes Antai good luck and telling him she has hopes for him and hands him a plastic bag of food. As Rika Takarada goes outside, ready to go to school, she looks at the pouring sky and states she wants to skip that day. Yuta Hibiki comments that the city has been destroyed and restored twice. His train of thought is interrupted by Sho Utsumi, who startles him and points out Samurai Caliba outside the window, standing in front of their school. Yuta then notices that Rika isn't at school. She has actually decided to skip and goes to Kamisan Park, where she runs into Antai. Back at school, Yuta contemplates calling Rika, but Sho taps the call button on his phone before he can decide. Rika's phone goes off in her pocket, but she avoids answering. Sho makes a comment about how kaiju might actually be humans, causing Yuta great distress at the thought that he killed people as Gridman. Their teacher enters, and Hass and Namiko point out that Rika is absent. Back at Kamisan Park, Rika notices that Antai is eating the food Akane gave him very hungrily and is without an umbrella, so she walks over and asks if he needs an umbrella. She then offers him her lunch as well, but as he is about to take it, Antai's phone goes off. Akane calls him, telling him to go wild. Antai transforms into a kaiju, causing Yuta's sensor to activate. As the rest of the class is gathered around and making a commotion at the appearance of a kaiju, Caliba comes in through the window. He picks up Yuta and Sho and jumps out the window with them. The three navigate through the city and land in front of Rika, who is also picked up. The four go to Rika's shop so Gridman can fight the kaiju. The fight between Gridman and Antai is very one-sided, since Yuta is worried that he might be hurting another person. Rika urges Caliba to turn into a sword again in order to support Gridman, but both Yuta and Caliba are defeated and presumed dead. Akane shows great joy and excitement as she was able to kill Gridman, and as the city is restored once again, Yuta and Caliba are nowhere to be found. Rika and Sho decide to stop by the Hibiki household before heading to school, but Rika worries that he might be dead, just like Tonkawa and Toiko. After school, the two mope around at the shop, and Sho makes the decision to disband the Gridman Alliance. They start to argue, but are interrupted by Boar entering the shop, along with several other people. They tell Rika to contact Yuta if she is so worried, so she calls him. To their delight, Gridman, Yuta, and Caliba turned out to be still alive, with Gridman just have recovered from the battle. The three turned out had faked their deaths and intentionally remained inside the seemingly inactive junk in hopes of ambushing Antai, much to Boar's dismay, as Antai doesn't reappear at all, that Caliba decided to exit the junk. With Caliba now reunited with the strangers that turned out to be his fellow assist weapons, the largest assist weapon, Max, told Gridman through the junk that they had gathered and asked whether he can fight. But once again, the kaiju swiftly overpowered him. This time, however, the heroes are better prepared. Transforming into his assist weapon form, Battle Tracto Max, Max enters the battle and fires his tanker cannons on Antai, temporarily disoriented him long enough for both him and Gridman to combine via Heracles Combine, Max Gridman. With his new form, Gridman fight Antai in equal terms, where they even use Max Grid Beam counter Antai's Mega Beam attack. The fight ends in stalemate, but Gridman wins by default due to Antai ran out of time and reduced into his human form, having reached his limit. Yuta returns to the shop, and as they reunite, Gridman introduces the others as being part of the Neon Genesis Junior High students. Back in front of Akane's, Akane and Antai stand in the rain again. Akane has another bag of food, but instead of offering it to Antai, she throws it at him. Akane is frustrated by Gridman's recurring interference, especially with Antai's inability to defeat him. Alexis inquired her whether she has some leads, at which Akane stated that Yuta might knew something about the mysterious hero since she saw the redhead hastily kidnapped by Caliba. Alexis suggested that they need to confirm whether Yuta is really Gridman. On the next day, Rika, discomforted by the heat, decided to take a bus for school and meets Akane at the bus stop. The two reminiscing over how they used to walk to school together when they still young and eventually grown apart. Yuta's curiosity with Rika's mood prompts Boar to bluntly asks her whether something happened. Upon hearing Rika's plan to meet Arcadia boys along with Has, Namiko, and Akane, Sho and Yuta immediately assumed that the girls are going to have a group date, a news that dismayed the two. On the next Saturday afternoon, Rika and her friends meet the Arcadia boys at a karaoke building with Sho and Yuta spying on them from a nearby pastry shop. Spending their time with the streaming group, Akane attempted to inquire Rika about her latest interaction with Yuta again, only to be repeatedly interrupted by Arcadia boys, where they mistook her profile picture as Alien Baltan instead of Alien Regulan. Having enough, Akane put up a bubbly facade as she makes her leave, much to Rika's dismay. Meanwhile, the boys and NGJHS lost the track of the girls once inside the building. The dismayed Yuta worried with the prospect of Rika being in love with someone else, at which Max sits beside him and inquired him whether he lost his way. On the next day, Rika makes her leave just as Yuta about to say something to her only to be interrupted by Sho, who inquired him to join a conversation with Gridman. Meeting her friends Has and Namiko, Rika is surprised to see that Arcadia Boys has been reduced into a soul-founding member Yamato, and neither of them suspecting something off. Realizing that a kaiju might after the streaming group, Rika hastily makes her leave. As this happens, Gridman, worried with Yuta's well-being, inquired him whether he can help on something. Yuta reassured that it's not a big deal except about his amnesia. Rika managed to find Yamato and attempted to warn him about an impending danger on his life, much to confusion of the college streamer, who asked her what she meant. Suddenly, a thick fog engulfed the area and strange glowing tentacles suddenly grabbed him. Fortunately, Samurai Caliba comes to their rescue and the two then evacuate the unconscious Yamato to safety. Caliba then alarmed Max about the situation, who then relay it to the rest of the group. Acting fast, Yuta merges with Gridman via Access Flash, and Gridman appears in time to save Rika, Caliba, and unconscious Yamato just as the kaiju cornered them. Gridman and the kaiju battles, but Antai soon enters the battle just as Caliba and Rika return to the shop. NGJHS join the battle by assuming their respective assist weapon forms via access code on Junk just as Antai lashed out on the kaiju, much to Akane's dismay and Sho's relief. In the aftermath of the battle, Yuta inquired Rika about her and her friends meeting with Arcadia Group. Rika explained that it was not fun due to Akane's sudden departure resulted the meeting lasted too soon, and Has and Namiko complained her over it at a restaurant. Delighted, Yuta decided to confront his feelings for Rika and asks her to eat out with him. On the next day, angered by Antai's presence and discovered that Yamato survived the ordeal upon confirmed via phone call, Rika checks her chat group to see Yamato indeed survived the ordeal, but began to wondering whether she might be the cause for the appearance of kaijus. Yuta and his class head out on a field trip into the mountains. However, Akane makes arrangements to summon a kaiju if needed. During the trip, Akane questions Yuta about his amnesia and tricks him into admitting he transforms into Gridman. She then summons a massive kaiju the size of a mountain in order to draw Gridman out. Unfortunately, since he is in the mountains, Yuta has no access to Junk and cannot transform. The NGJHS purchased Junk from Rika's mother and carry it up the mountain to Yuta's location, allowing him to transform into Gridman. Antai also appears, but Boar combines with Gridman to form Buster Gridman. Buster Gridman completely overwhelms the kaiju with sheer firepower, and Antai is buried under the rubble. Afterwards, Yuta and the rest of his class return home, with Max observing that all of the kaiju seem to be appearing in proximity of Yuta's class. Confident that Yuta Hibiki is Gridman, Akane Shinjo orders Antai to kill him. However, having not eaten anything, Antai begins to succumb to hunger when Rika Takarada comes across him. Rika kindly feeds and bathes him before he runs off. Akane approaches Sho Utsumi with their mutual love for kaiju, and she attempts to extract more information out of him as Bor secretly watches. Utsumi doesn't reveal anything, much to Akane's disappointment. Yuta encounters a young girl who claims she is a kaiju and that she knows Yuta from his past. The kaiju girl takes Yuta on a train ride outside the city, where she prevents him from falling asleep to show him nothing exists outside of the city. Kaiju girl then reveals that the city Yuta lives in is entirely constructed by Akane, who uses kaiju to continually destroy and rebuild the city without anybody's knowledge. She warns Yuta that Akane is being manipulated by an outside force, and that only he can stop it. Furthermore, even though she is a kaiju, she was not created by Akane and existed long before the city did. Kaiju girl then thanks Yuta for helping her predecessor before taking her leave. On the way home, Yuta is attacked by Antai, but is saved by Max and Samurai Caliba's intervention. They point out to Antai that if he kills Yuta, he'll never have a proper battle against Gridman, which Antai agrees with, and he leaves. Yuta decides to go back to the shop to report everything to Gridman, where he finds his friends waiting for him, while Alexis Scarab silently watches Akane. Yuta tries to tell Rika and Utsumi what he learned from the kaiju girl, but they are skeptical of his claims due to how implausible they sound. Yuta then returns home to find Akane Shinjo waiting for him. He refuses her offer to join her side, and she invites him out for dinner. As they eat, Yuta slowly comes to realize how twisted Akane is when she casually explains how she had fellow students killed just for pissing her off. An alien-looking being in a foreboding black outfit then arrives and introduces himself to Yuta as Alexis Scarab, explaining how he is the one who transmutes Akane's clay statues of kaiju into physical form. Suddenly, a kaiju appears above the city, confusing Akane since she didn't create one that day. Yuta returns to the shop and transforms to fight the kaiju, while Akane returns home and finds out Alexis allowed Antai to create his own kaiju to battle Gridman. Akane is infuriated at both Antai and Alexis going behind her back. Meanwhile, Vic combines with Gridman to form Sky Gridman as they take on both Antai and his kaiju. The battle takes them high into the sky where they see that the sky is fake, with the upper boundary of computer world revealed above. Gridman is able to defeat Antai, but Yuta and his friends are left troubled at these new developments. Akane authorizes Alexis to discipline Antai, and he easily overpowers Antai and slashes his face. As the school prepares to host a festival, Akane approaches Yuta and his friends and taunts them, saying that she will attack the festival with her newest kaiju. Yuta and Utsumi immediately start making plans to counter Akane's kaiju, while Rika has reservations about their plan, wondering if there's a way to peacefully convince Akane not to attack. She quickly gets into an argument with Utsumi, and they have a falling out. Regretful at the things he said to Rika, Utsumi accompanies Yuta to confront Akane, to ask her why she wants to attack the festival if her enemy is Gridman, but Akane refuses to answer. Rika confronts Akane, and Akane reveals that Rika is just an artificial intelligence who was programmed from the start to be her friend, and therefore Rika is incapable of hating her. Yuta finds a troubled Rika, who says she plans to apologize to Utsumi before he can, since he wouldn't be expecting her to act preemptively. This gives Yuta the idea to have Gridman appear at the festival, forcing an evacuation before Akane can summon her kaiju. They implement their plan, deliberately reducing Gridman's size so the entire NGJHS can transform and combine with him to form full-powered Gridman. The kaiju is defeated, and the festival continues as planned after the day resets. Yuta and his friends participate in the festival, and Rika and Utsumi make amends. Akane stays home, growing increasingly depressed over her inability to defeat Gridman, while Alexis encourages her to make more kaiju. For her next plan, Akane creates a kaiju that traps Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi in separate dream worlds where they are friends with her. This initially seems to work at first, as Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi have no memory of Gridman or the kaiju. Meanwhile, in the real world, Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi are put in a deep sleep and unable to awaken. The kaiju floats above the city, but is incorporeal, protecting it from harm, so the HGJHS are forced to wait. Anti is angry Gridman hasn't appeared, but he cannot harm the kaiju either. Inside the dream world, Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi slowly come to realize that they are in a dream and reject Akane's offer to stay in the dream world. This gives Gridman the chance to attack the dream world version of the kaiju, making it vulnerable in the real world. The NGJHS then mobilizes and combines to form the robot power Xenon, swiftly defeating the kaiju on their own. Anti then angrily asks Samurai Caliba why Gridman won't fight him, and Caliba replies that Gridman won't fight a living being with a heart, even if it's a kaiju. With her plan a failure, Akane falls into a deeper depression. Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi finally wake up, now realizing that it's their duty to help Akane wake up from her own dream. Rika then tells everybody else to listen to something important she must tell them. The gang discuss the implications of Akane Shinjo's revelation that they were all created by her kaiju. They head over to her house to confront her, but the interior is somehow missing, with only a portal to the backstage of Computer World remaining. Sho Utsumi resolves their existential impasse by spending the night studying for midterm exams. He declaring that even if they are in Akane's created world, they still have things that need done. Wherever Akane's home interior is, Alexis Carib is there demanding another kaiju. She hands over a kaiju model, then wanders off through the city, sinking into depression. Samurai Caliba confronts Anti and asks what he would do without Gridman. Anti is not conflicted like the other students. He knows his purpose. He exists only to crush Gridman and doesn't need to think of anything else. Akane's latest kaiju, Nanasher, appears. Gridman and the NGJHS all jump into action and unite to form full-powered Gridman. They make short work of Nanasher. Anti leaps into the fray, attacking Gridman, but Anti's power times out quickly and he reverts to human form. Gridman explains that Anti has grown a heart through his interactions with humans and gained humanity of his own, hence Gridman won't destroy him. Anti seeks out Akane, and she rebuffs him, wanting nothing to do with a kaiju that has become human. A kaiju comes bursting out of Nanashi's body and destroys all of the Venora, the poison smoke kaiju who repair the city at night. Full-powered Gridman returns to battle this upgraded Nanasher. The kaiju does a bunch of acrobatic flips and jumps. Gridman's power times out, and he is soundly defeated. Suddenly, Anti appears and takes down Nanasher. Max dubs the new heroic Anti with the name Gridnight. As the team congratulate themselves, Akane shows up at the pawn shop. With the utility knife that she has been using to create the kaiju models, the one seen in the opening credits, she stabs Yuta Hibiki in the gut, causing him to collapse. After stabbing Yuta Hibiki, Akane Shinjo wrecks the computer junk. They rush Yuta to hospital. The city is still in an uproar after the destruction caused by the kaiju Nanasher. With the Venora destroyed, the city did not get reset overnight like with the previous kaiju attacks. What's more, everyone can see the ceiling of Computer World, which has become the sky. Akane explains to Alexis Carib that with Yuta dead, there is no more Gridman, so she won't need to make any more kaiju. He insists, but she can't do it. Her heart isn't in it any longer. Making do with what's available, Alexis Carib revives all of the previous kaiju. Anti arrives at the hospital. He explains how he has changed, but the others are still hostile towards him. Nevertheless, they accept his help. He runs off to transform into Gridnight and engages the rampaging kaiju in battle. Yuta is in a coma, and the NGJHS realize that he can't wake up because the computer junk is out of order, so they begin repairs. Within his coma, Yuta talks with Gridman. Gridman explains everything. They get junk repaired, and Yuta wakes up. Sho Utsumi is still there at the hospital, so Yuta tells him what he learned. He is actually the persona of Gridman. Gridman took over Yuta's body upon arriving in this world, but lost his own memories of being Gridman, causing the appearance of amnesia. Yuta's mind and memories are asleep, and will return when Gridman leaves. Yuta and Utsumi join the others at the pawn shop, and they launch into battle. Rika Takarada finds Akane. She is still covered with Yuta's blood. As they discuss their friendship, Alexis Karev arrives, needing material for one more kaiju. With a cry of instant abreaction, he transforms Akane into a kaiju. Alexis Karev has just transformed Akane Shinjo into the kaiju Zega, and it proceeds to stomp the city. Yuta Hibiki arrives at the pawn shop, now with his full memories as Gridman, the hyper agent. Anti, having defeated the last of the resurrected kaiju, touches base there with the others, then heads out to challenge Zega, somehow understanding that Akane's soul is trapped inside. Rika Takarada and Alexis Karev are still on the roof, and they have a conversation. He is quite amused by the situation of the girl who creates kaiju becoming a kaiju. He belittles Rika for thinking that she is Akane's friend when she is Akane's own creation. Your creation that Akane made for her own benefit. Yuta uses Sky Vidder to collect Rika and Utsumi, bringing them back to the shop to help in the fight. Grid Knight pries open Zega's jaws, then transforms into human form as Anti, falling into the depths. He seeks out Akane and brings her out, and they stand on the outer shell of Zega, which is rendered immobile without Akane empowering it. As they talk, Alexis Karev arrives and stabs Anti through the back. He then absorbs Akane into himself and grows to kaiju size, ready for battle. At the shop, each of the NGJHS and Yuta have been given an acceptor. This lets them join their hearts and merge to become one. With a cry of access flash, they enter the computer, Junk. Junk then demands the access code, which is required to launch Gridman. Utsumi whispers the access code, Gridman. The query to the dialogue for entering the access code is special signature to save a soul. He attacks Alexis Karev. Alexis gets sliced apart, but he regenerates. Alexis explains that he can do so forever. He is immortal and infinite, but immortality has its price, which is why he is using Akane. Akane sought Alexis Karev, and he enabled her to create the city. However, she was frustrated by the imperfections and sent kaiju after kaiju to destroy and rebuild. Alexis reveled in her emotional torment as this happened over and over. Gridman realizes that he cannot destroy Alexis and will eventually be worn down and killed. As an alternative to destruction, he engages Fixer Beam to repair the city and everything in it, including Akane's heart. She hears the voices of Rika, Utsumi, and Yuta. They tell her the message of Gridman, "You are not alone." Akane chooses to accept their help and opens the door to her heart. The Fixer Beam causes the image of computer world to melt away, and the facade of the city is renewed, this time enlarged with the entire planet beyond the city. At Akane's house, her things are all packed into boxes. No longer willing to be the god of this world, she is returning back to the human world where she came from. She sits with Rika and apologizes for all of the hurt she caused everyone in this world. Rika gives her a goodbye present, a holder for her transit pass. Then Akane is gone, and the packed boxes with her, and inexplicably, so is the air conditioner, but that's okay. The weather has turned cold outside. At the pawn shop, everyone is back to human form, and Gridman is about to depart. With Akane freed, Gridman was able to encase Alexis Karev in a container and is taking him away to Hyperworld. He reminds the others that once he is gone, Yuta will awaken with no memory of what has happened during Gridman's use of his body. As snow falls, Anti is awakened by Kaiju Girl Anosyllis, who has saved his life. The final scene is live action. In the human world, Akane wakes up in her bedroom. In the same fashion as Gridman does in the opening credits,